Hope everyone's enjoying their Thursday. In Chicago, it's pretty sunny, but it's a little windy. We're just happy that we don't have snow yet. The last thing we need. All right. Well, hello and welcome to this afternoon's webinar, Revolutionize Your Portfolio, a peek into AAII's Enhanced A+ Investor Experience, led by Cynthia McLaughlin. Thank you so much for joining us. We are happy to have you all here. My name is Jennifer Shear, and I'll be your host for today. And a few things to go over just before we begin. I want to remind all of our webinar viewers that AAII is a nonprofit educational group and is not a financial advisor, and thus is not able to give personal advice. Every investor is different. That's why our goal with every broadcast and article is to educate you on how to make better financial decisions. And a handout of the presentation is available under the handout section of your GoToWebinar control panel, which is located on the right-hand side of your screen. And additionally, a copy of the slides used during today's presentation will be sent to all who attended. And if you have any questions for our speaker during the presentation, please submit them using the question section of your GoToWebinar control panel. Once our presentation concludes, I'll select a few questions for Cindy to answer, and then any questions that are not selected for the broadcast will be reviewed and addressed afterwards. And then, of course, you can always email Cindy. She has her email on the screen right now, or you can email members@aaii.com. And if you experience any issues with the audio or the video of the webinar today, please consult the instructions on how to change your device's settings, or you can consult the GoToWebinar website for support at gotowebinar.com. And during the broadcast, we will conduct polls that you are welcome to participate in. We will allow a few minutes for voting and then share the results for all the attendees. And then please feel free to participate at your convenience. We always enjoy hearing, from fellow investors like you. And just a friendly reminder that this presentation is recorded, and a replay of the webinar will be available early next week on the AAII.com website, along with links to this presentation's handouts and any resources that we discuss. And for new viewers, we always like to give a little background about our organization. The AAII is an independent nonprofit corporation formed in 1978 for the purpose of assisting individuals in becoming effective managers of their own assets through programs of education, information, and research. And with that, I'd like to hand over the presentation to Cindy.
Hi, my name is Cynthia McLaughlin, and I just wanted to thank everybody for joining today. I'm really excited about showing you the A+ features and also our new mutual fund and ETF screeners. So thank you again for joining, and I wanted to emphasize that the presentation is really a handout for you to use later or refer to if you wish. I'm going to go through some things on the presentation as we progress, but mostly this will be a demonstration, an online web demonstration. So thank you for having me, and welcome again. Okay. So the A+ product, A+ investor product, the crux of it is it really helps investors like yourselves and like me and Jenna solve the problems that we're facing today. So it will help you identify which stocks, mutual funds, and ETFs you should buy or sell using a sound and repeatable approach. Since you're using the same product over and over again, you are going to get the same assumptions. The same assumptions will provide this information, and you'll be able to identify and track strategies, sectors, industries of interest, and you're going to build, manage, and again, track your diversified portfolio. And as Jenna mentioned, we are an independent source of information. We are not interested in, nor do we have capability to sell you investment advisory services or funds or other products. So we are a truly research, evidence-based, independent organization interested in serving individual investors. The tools and data and research that we have are geared to help you make more informed and better investment decisions. We have My Portfolio for portfolio tracking and analysis. This comes with an insights email. We have the stock, mutual fund, and ETF evaluators that all subscribers can use. And then we have our A+ stock grades, which are factor-based, analytical, and we provide upgrade and downgrade information with our quant screener. The mutual fund and ETF screeners also include predefined and custom screeners, and you can build your own screeners and save them for future use and modify them. You can take the predefined screeners and modify them and save them for your own use. So we have a lot of flexibility. And we also have the custom stock screener and then individual stock screens that contain daily stock ideas, power ranking capability, and it will let you know which stocks in your portfolio or which stocks you're interested in are passing multiple screens. And I wanted to mention that I realize our audience might be a little varied. We probably have some A+ power users, and we probably have some people who are newer to the A+ investor product or are maybe not A+ subscribers yet, but thinking about subscribing. So I hope that this will be helpful to all of you. And as always, feel free to submit questions, and my contact information is in the handout. So you're more than welcome to contact me and ask me anything that you want. Thank you. The My Portfolio, that is a tool that will help you keep track of your holdings for stocks, mutual funds, and ETFs, and cash and bond holding values. So you can track your ideas with this, and you can obtain portfolio insights, you can evaluate portfolio holdings, and it will help you also adjust and assess your risk with the diversification analyzer. And the purpose of the My Portfolio is to just kind of bring everything together and do some analysis to identify your strong and weak holdings and take a really deep dive on that portfolio. It's not intended just as a reminder to replace a full-featured system that you might find at your brokerage. Our product will be a little different. Okay, so let's go and look at the actual product. Okay, so Jenna, can you see my A+ investor screen?
Yes, thanks so much, Cindy.
Okay, great, great. Just wanted that double check. Technology is great until it isn't. So this is the A+ investor homepage, and the first thing you're going to see is the portfolio tab. So when you look at the portfolio tab, you will be able to see your top 5 holdings from your portfolio. This is a little mock portfolio that I created just for the purpose of demonstration. And you're going to see daily price changes or upgrades and downgrades with our A+ investor grades. And quick portfolio tips will let you perform a diversification analysis, and you can also look at grade alerts. And the quick research bar here, you can type in any ticker, just like you can type in a ticker up here and go to the information pertaining to that particular stock or mutual fund or ETF. So if you click on View My Portfolio, you're going to get further information about your portfolio. And you're going to be able to, at this screen, make this portfolio a favorite if you want, or if you have other portfolios, you can also make one of those a favorite. You can create a new portfolio, modify the portfolio that you are viewing, delete it, or you can manage alerts, or you can go to our how-to information. And I wanted to bring up and let you know that we do have a comprehensive group of how-to information that our amazing editorial team created, and we have a My Portfolio user guide which will walk you step by step through working with your portfolio, and we also have a A+ investor user guide, and you can print these out, and they are very easily made into PDFs if you're a person like I am who likes to kind of have your instructions with you to refer to from time to time. So moving on, in A+ Investor, this is the stocks screen, the stocks landing page, and you will see on the side we have our guru screens. We have 37 guru screens, so you can look at those, or you can look at the screens by factor. We have 18 factor screens. Again, the stock lookup, and I wanted to call your attention to some additional features on this page. We have the shadow stock portfolio alerts. We have A+ stock grades, where you can go to the custom stock screener, and we have more stock ideas. So quite a lot of information already on this page, and you can also look into stock insights pertaining to your particular portfolio. So drilling down one step further, you go into View All Stock Tools. There is even more. And I think one thing that is really good about this interface, the buttons are either blue or yellow. So it's really clear which button is going to work and be able to do something. So this is where just most of the information is. You can look at your particular stocks. You can look at screens that you have set up, and we'll take a deeper dive in a minute here. Or you can do something called screen power ranking. And then here are the guru screens again, the factor screens. There are premium screens, and here is where you can look at stock grades, upgrades, downgrades, commentary report, and if you're a Stock Investor Pro subscriber, clicking on this link will take you to the Stock Investor Pro tool. And then finally, shadow stocks. So we also on this page have commentary about the screeners. One of our interns, Andrew Gomes, very recently wrote commentary about a screening strategy. And then there are 3 screens featured. So what this is each week we rotate through a featured stock strategy. And then we always have the shadow stock portfolio available. And then this is one of our model portfolios, part of our premium products. And scrolling further down, we have A+ stock grades. We have the upgrades and downgrades. And we also have articles pertaining to stock screens. So we have these carefully curated, so you can read about more, read more information about the screens and any first cuts that are applicable. And I wanted to point out that with the premium 7 screens, if you are not a subscriber, if you are just not a premium subscriber, what this will allow you to do is to access the stocks that are currently qualifying for being included in each of these portfolios. Okay. It's a little slow. I apologize for that. Oh. Okay. Okay, so maybe we'll go back and look at that later. The screen power rankings is a really interesting feature because what it is going to do is it is going to allow you to look at the screens either by the particular screen strategy or by additional criteria. So we have the stock guru screens, and we're talking about the screen power rankings. And I just wanted to maybe go on to the funds for a minute and let you know that the mutual fund landing page, what it contains is an opportunity to look at featured screens, which are some of our first cuts. And you, of course, are able to look up a particular mutual fund and also see new fund insights. So drilling down a little bit, you'll be able to see my mutual funds, the first cut screens, and the fund screener. And we're actually going to look at the fund screener and the ETF screener separately. And you have the ability to look at consistent performers, top bottom funds, and of course commentary and reports. And then moving on to ETFs, the ETF screen is set up, the ETF landing page, homepage is set up very similar to the mutual fund landing page, and featured screens, which are the first cuts, the ability to look up an ETF, and then going on to being able to view ETFs in your portfolio, the first cut screens, insights, and consistent performers, top and bottom, and also the ETF guide. And for the A+ stock, fund, and ETF evaluator, all you need to do is go to the home AAII page and type in the fund that you want to look at, or in this case, I created a screen with the stock, and this screen over here is what you're going to be able to view. You're going to be able to see where your stock or fund stands in terms of value, growth, momentum, EPS revisions, and quality. And you can also look at a snapshot. You can look at the grades. This shows the grades, charts, valuation information, metrics pertaining to growth, ratios. You can see how many analysts are following the particular issue, and you can look at earnings, financials, and other information. One really helpful capability is the A+ stock grades screener. So what I like to do with my portfolio is click on this A+ stock grade screener and then load my portfolio. And I'm able to see where it stands in terms of value, growth, momentum, revisions, and quality. So I think that's a pretty valuable and unique thing to have available. Okay, so Jenna, we're at our first poll question, and while we're working on the poll question, I'm going to hop back and see what the web looks like.
Sounds good. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in today and everything. We have our first poll question. I'm going to launch it now, but the question is, which A+ investor feature do you utilize most for managing your portfolio? So I'll launch that right now. The options are portfolio, stocks, funds, or ETFs. So feel free, we'll give you a few moments to vote. We appreciate everyone for participating in our first poll of the day. Also, thank you so much to everyone for sending in their questions. I've received all of them, and we'll prioritize during our Q&A session, but we'll try to get to everybody or to as many questions as we can. Also, thank you so much for, sorry about the inconvenience earlier about the website. Our tech team is actively resolving any issues, and it should be up shortly.
Great. Thank you. It's good to know.
Yeah. We've got about 64% voted, so please feel free to keep voting. We'll give a couple, maybe 30 more seconds, and then we'll close the poll and share the results. And just for the audience, I wanted to also mention I've been sharing a couple helpful resources in the chat. So feel free while the presentation is going on, I'll keep putting in different links and things that I think are helpful. And then if you're new and would like to check out the A+ Investor website, you can always visit aaii.com/plus. All right, well, we've got about 72% voted. So I'm going to close it right now, and I will share the results. So it looks like we have 46% of stock, followed closely by 33% portfolio, and then 14% ETFs, and only 8% funds.
It's good to know. Thank you.
It is. Thanks.
Okay, so moving on for now to the mutual fund screener and ETF screener overview. So there are several things that we did. We worked on interface enhancements, and we also worked on screening capabilities. With the interface enhancement, what is really good is that all of the filters now are displayed simultaneously on the same screen. And the data is also displayed in easy to understand categories in tabular format. I don't know how many of you are current screener users, but the legacy screener, it was all in one long scrollable box, and it's nice to have things broken out by tab. I will show that in a minute. And you can search for a ticker, which will display a list of funds that contain that particular string. So that is another good thing. It kind of helps narrow things down as you're just looking around. And available filters are displayed simultaneously on the screen. And you can add or delete filters. I think that you're going to like this. And also the mutual fund and ETF screeners are both on the same screen. So it's a little easier than flipping back and forth. You can just kind of mouse up and down. And in terms of screening enhancements, with the mutual funds, you can now screen by total returns, which include net asset value, You can screen by total returns and expense ratios, and it can be based on a value that you're interested in. For example, returns above 10% or 12%, or by category rank. Share asset classes are now searchable, and the ability to select or deselect different share classes has been expanded. And you can now select maximum amounts for loads and 12B1 fees. So all of those things should hopefully make filtering and looking for mutual funds a little easier and more manageable. And with the ETFs, you can now screen for total returns based on both NAV and price, and the total returns and expense ratios can be screened based on values that you enter. Same thing as with mutual funds for returns above a certain amount or by category rank. The mutual fund screener, we have the capability of looking into a universe of more than 23,000 funds, and there are 35 different screening variables. And at the beginning, I believe I mentioned you can save screens for future views. You can edit and save a predefined screen, or you can compare selected funds, and you can add those funds to your personal portfolio. Okay, so this is the mutual fund and ETF screener. On the left-hand side, you can see we have both screeners. And I talked about having all the criteria available within one screen. And this is what it looks like. And then down here, I mentioned that we have tabs. So we have the overview tab. We have the performance tab, the risk tab, where you can look at, like your category risk, your total risk, standard deviation, beta, those types of metrics. And then this is the portfolio tab, where you can look at information pertaining to that you would think about for a portfolio, assets under management, so forth, and then the management and fees. So this is where you're going to see your expense ratios, the grade, are these true no load, or what type of a load or fee do they have. And once you get your screen set up and everything is in your output the way you want, you can export to Excel. So that feature remains the same. And with both the mutual fund beta screener and the ETF beta screener, we welcome your feedback, and we have this link set up where you can click here and send us comments. And these go directly to our tech department, and then I'm getting a copy of them along with, I believe my manager, Charles Rotblood, is also getting a copy. So we are going to actively work to keep improving these screeners, and we'll take all of your feedback to heart. Okay, so looking at creating a screen, what we want to do, I had an example set up. I'm going to get in front of me. We want to search for a no load, large cap blend fund with a low expense ratio, somewhere between 0 and 20%. And we are also going to specify that this fund not be leveraged or inverse, and that it be open to new investors with more than 50 million assets under management, and that it have a minimum investment required that is less than $20,000. So that's a lot, but let's just get started to see how it works. So I'm going to select global asset type, and then I'm going to go down, no inverse, no leveraged, share assets, and I'm going to select my expense ratio, true no load, minimum purchase, close to new investors. So these are my criteria. These are what I am going to refine further. Okay, so if you go into global asset type, you're going to then click on equity, US equity, and large blend. So that filters for large blend. Okay. And then I am going to go back and add some criteria to this. Okay. Okay. Well, okay. So switching back to the PowerPoint, this is what the screener would look like. So we have large blend, we have share class assets greater than 50, no inverse, no leveraged, and then the expense ratio, I have selected 0 to 20 and kind of input those. You can either use the slide bar or you can type, whatever works best for you. And I have toggled to true no load. And I have said that I do not want a fund that is close to new investors. Minimum initial purchase less than or equal to 20,000. And then down here, we have the flexibility of either excluding or including share classes. So I want to exclude retirement, institutional, other, S, and advisor. So it is a true no load. And a little tip or trick, when you go to click on Find Funds, you can review your query criteria. So when you pull up a save screen or you create a new screen, this query criteria is available below the Find Funds. And then you would navigate to save in the left-hand side of the screen. To save it, you can save, name it anything. You can type in a description, then you can come back and rename it if you need to add another field or variable to sort on. So that is how you create a screen. And then this again is the tabular format with the export to Excel. So as in the legacy screen, you can compare mutual funds. So this is just a little simple example. The screen would have brought back kind of our usual suspects for large cap index funds, and it compares to the Vanguard funds. And then you could also add those to your portfolio. So up here, if you want to add those to your portfolio after reviewing further in the compare screen, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, so for ETF screener, the capabilities are more than 3,400 ETFs. There are 40 different screening variables, and the same thing, saving for future use or using the predefined. Okay. So for the ETF screener, creating the very similar type of screen for the large blend funds and selecting global class assets greater and the thing I want to mention about ETFs is you can filter on average daily trading volume. So we want to see all of them that have a volume greater than 5,000. And that's a pretty low threshold for ETFs, but just wanted to mention that. And it's not very important with large blend funds, but it might be if you have some smaller or more unique funds that you're looking at in, say, the sector or specialty area. And same thing with share class assets, inverse, leveraged, and the expense ratio. Okay. And then you would find the ETFs. Your query information is down here. You can save it if you wish. And here are the tabs again, exporting, comparing funds, and yeah, it's pretty similar to the mutual fund screen. So I believe we are ready for the second poll question.
Excellent. All right, let me launch the next poll. So our question for you today is, have you used one or both of our redesigned screeners? The answer is, you can please select one. It will be, yes, I use the new fund screener. Yes, I use the new ETF screener. Yes, I use both new screeners, or no, not yet. So feel free to take some time and vote. And I appreciate everybody participating. And then just to reiterate, if you're an A+ investor or an AAII Platinum subscriber, you get access to our redesigned screeners, as well as the custom stock screener as well. Just give people a couple more seconds to vote. We're at about 68% voted.
Okay.
Again, thanks so much for sending in so many great questions. I can't wait to have a good discussion during our Q&A session a little bit later. Right. I'm going to close the poll and we'll share our results. And it looks like we've got 92% says no, not yet. That's completely fine. Looks like about 4% said that they were able to use the new fund screener, and about 2% said that they were able to use the ETF screener as well as both new screeners. So that's great to hear.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Very happy.
Right. Thanks so much, everybody, for participating. I appreciate it.
Okay, so we have an exclusive offer for attendees today.
Yes. Sorry, my video just turned off. Well, we want to, as a thank you to all of our wonderful attendees, all of our wonderful fellow investors, and a token of appreciation for your attendance at today's presentation. We're pleased to offer an exclusive webinar promotion. So for those who haven't yet subscribed to A+ Investor but are interested in doing so, we're extending an offer of 20% off our regular subscription price for new subscribers. So you can just simply enter the promo code webinar20 while as you're checking out to enjoy this discount on a regular A+ Investor subscription. And we've got a link that is in the handout, so it'll be distributed after the presentation, as well as if you want to just type it in, it's invest.aaii.com/A+-investor-FP. And you basically just click on that link, click on whatever subscription you'd like, and then enter that webinar 20 in the promo box when you get to checkout. And it should automatically take that 20% off. And we hope that everybody has a chance to, take advantage of this, great sale, and then also be able to check out all the new enhancements and all the new improvements that we've put a lot of hard work into creating over the last couple months. So thanks.
Okay, I'm ready for some questions.
We've got some great ones coming in. I appreciate everyone for sending them
Thank
in.
you.
And let's
Thank
see.
you.
Okay.
Sorry, the technical challenge made it a little less interactive.
And let's see. Okay, the first question we got here is, let's see. Oh, this is a good one. So one of our attendees asked, what type of investor is the best suited or would benefit highly from, a suite of tools like A+ Investor? Is there any investors, that are specifically would benefit more than others, or is it just a really great, well-rounded tool that is, really good for anybody?
I would say it's really good for anybody. It's good for beginner investors because it takes a lot of the information and kind of bubbles it up to the next level, filters it, but it's also good for that experienced investor or that beginner investor who really wants to learn more, just because there's so much information and there's so much you can do and so many ways that you can use both A+ Investor and including the screeners to get a deeper dive and really see how your portfolio looks. One thing I wanted to highlight about my portfolio is that it does take a little bit of work to get all of the information in there, but it's most useful when you enter not only the fact that I hold a particular stock or whatever, but when you bought it, when you sold it, and the prices and any trading or commission costs. That's where you really get your value.
That makes sense. And actually going off of that, we had a couple people ask kind of a two-parter question, but are you able to import data into a portfolio? And then is the portfolio data stored on their specific computer or in the cloud, in the AAII cloud?
That is a those are great questions. I do not have an answer for those. Let me take those and research a little.
Great. And let's see, a couple other questions we had. Let's see. Feel free to keep adding them in as well through the question section of your GoToWebinar panel. All right, let's see. Oh, here's one. So one of our attendees was asking, what was the primary reason we wanted to make these enhancements to A+ Investors homepage and screeners? Was there any kind of driving force behind the enhancements?
Well, I think just to simplify things for investors and to the first question, make it applicable and relevant and easier to use for all types of investors. Just really bring out the capabilities. So
makes sense.
The navigation is a lot easier and it's a lot clearer. Just make it as easy to use and provide as much use as possible for everyone.
Excellent, excellent. And one of our members asked, for the custom stock screener as well as the ETF and mutual fund screeners, do you recommend any helpful resources that they can use to get started or learn how to use? You gave us a really great tutorial, but if, after the event, is there any kind of videos or how-to guides or things that you would like to call out specifically?
There is the A+ Investor User Guide, which includes a how-to on the screeners, and those are in, I'm hoping the web is up again. So those are in the A+ Investor how-to section. We have a user guide, which includes information on the fund screeners, the fund and ETF screeners, and we are also in the process of adding a how-to video for both the fund screener and the ETF screener. So hopefully very soon there will be a how-to video for each of these.
Great. And actually, since you have the screening up, I was going to ask you, so we have a couple members that were asking, about, are you able to screen for active versus passive management in either of the funds sections?
You cannot directly screen for that, but when you get the output, you can filter on it. You can filter on it in Excel.
That's great. And and are you able to? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say you could look for specific share classes, but in term that's another thing you could do. Yep.
Are you able to? For people who are looking for, like maybe something very specific, like small cap value, is that something that you could filter in the either funds?
Oh, definitely. Yes, you would do that through global asset class, and then equity, US equity. Yep, and you would go down small value.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's just a matter of playing around with it a little bit and getting used to the interface.
See, I think you showed how to save a screen. Do we have the ability to save multiple screens, or is there a limit on how many screens that you can save at one time?
I don't know. I don't think so, but I will find out.
That's a great question.
Yeah. Yeah, and we do have the predefined screens. So I just wanted to touch on that. These are the first cut screens. These are all in here and available for both mutual funds and ETFs.
I think we got a question about the predefined screens. This is more of like an opinion question, but
Sure.
in your own opinion, would you recommend using a predefined screen or screening or like kind of just playing around with it and screening on your own for someone who is first time or more of a, I would say, intermediate investor?
I would say start with the predefined screen, and then you can always modify it by adding the different variables. So you could play around with it and see if it brings back what you're interested in, and then maybe add to it and save it.
Makes sense.
Or I guess you'd have to save it and then modify it, but yeah, probably a combination.
That's great. And let's see. Let's see. We had quite a few people asking. It seems like we had a lot of people who were income investors on the, on with us today, and they were asking, what are all the different kinds of ways you can filter based on dividends for either the funds or the ETF screeners, and how do you do so?
Dividends, you would have to filter on, probably those would be in maybe the value. Yeah, I would think that you could filter on a specific category that is known to pay out dividends, like large value.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good one. I will do a little more research on that and come up with a precise answer.
Let's see. Got a couple other questions coming in. Some are a little bit specific, so I will make sure that Cindy gets them if they are, very, more specific to your own, comparing different, sites and different, Stock Investor Pro versus using a custom stock screener or things like that. I will make sure that these are given to our to Cindy and Charles to answer at a later time. Let's see. Oh, somebody asked, so how would you screen for, or are you able to screen for top-down industry analysis, to see which industries are maybe in a strong position over other ones, or ones that are less attractive? Is there any kind of capabilities with the fund and ETF screener that can do that?
The fund and ETF screener. Some of these first cuts, that's a great question. You can screen by sector. So what you could probably do is screen by sector and then filter it further by returns. That's one idea. That's a great question.
That's a great question. Let's see. Trying to see if there's anything else. I think that's a lot. A lot of these, let's see, make sure we get to everything. Okay, so this is kind of, you mentioned that, you can use a predefined screen, especially if you're maybe more beginner, but are there any kind of key filters that you gravitate towards when you're building your own stock screens? Are there ones that you just always, include, or things that you always want to have at hand, or anything that you could, that, kind of explain as a key filter that you use?
For mutual funds, I always look for no load. I always filter out loads. And then for ETFs, it depends on what I'm looking at, but I am really prone to use the average daily trading volume just to make sure that they have liquidity and expense ratios. So I'm basically trying also to filter out any inverse or leveraged funds, because those are just things that you really have to watch and kind of know what they're doing sometimes on a day-to-day basis, and it just doesn't make sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah, those are some of the filters that I use a lot.
All right, well, it looks like a lot of the questions are rather specific, so I will hold off and I will make sure that you get a list of the questions so that you can reach out and answer them. Let's see. But is there anything else, Cindy, that you want to touch on, or any kind of special call outs before we wrap up our presentation today?
Well, thank you everyone for joining, and I just hope that when you have a few minutes, you will find the opportunity to go in and use the mutual fund and ETF screener and provide us feedback, since we are all investors with slightly different goals. I'm sure that you will have good feedback, each and every one of you, and it will be different and allow us to make improvements.
Great, awesome. Well, thank you so much. And first of all, I just want to thank Cindy so much for guiding us through A+ Investor today and highlighting, our improved mutual fund and ETF screeners. I can't wait to jump in. I'm sure everybody else is. So, if you have any questions though about A+ Investor, or have general membership questions or anything, please feel free to email us at members@aaii.com. And like Cindy said, she included her email, so feel free to reach out anytime.
Yes.
That will be in the linked resources document, so it'll be sent to all attendees who joined us today. And if you are an A+ investor or AAII Platinum subscriber and have yet to explore the mutual fund and ETF screeners and wish to do so, you can visit aaii.com/screens/funds or aaii.com/screens/ETF. And as Cindy highlighted in her presentation, there are predefined mutual fund and ETF screens available as well, designed to help you and assist you in finding any kinds of screens as far as high yield equity ETFs or the hottest domestic stock funds. So there's lots to delve into and explore. And I'd like to remind you again that this presentation has been recorded, and a replay of the webinar will be available hopefully tomorrow, but it could be early next week on the AAII website, and it'll also be available on our YouTube channel. And this will also include links to the handouts from this presentation and then any helpful resources that we discuss. And with that, we wish all of you viewing good health, good fortune, and a great rest of your day. Thank you and take care.
Thank you.